welcome to Gaia GPS. I am Mimi and I am here with Maya Kana.
Hello everybody.
And we had some technical issues this morning, so we're actually recording in a different way. We're recording on Zoom because there were monkeys having issues on YouTube. So different format, not a live stream, but still very good, strong info. And we have some good shifts this week. It's always good shifts. We have new moon coming in, we have Venus shifting signs, and we're moving into Sun in Libra this week, the equinox, the fall equinox, or spring equinox, depending on where it is that you live. Or it's not spring equinox. What is it? The spring, what is it called?
No, it is equinox.
Is it equinox? Spring too?
The
Okay.
summer is the solstice. Spring and fall is equinox.
I thought there was another word for the spring one too, but okay. Yes, that makes sense. All right, so we're beginning with the moon shifting into Virgo, preparing us for the new moon energy. So the moon is shifting into Virgo, 9:52 p.m. Sunday evening. We don't have the new moon until Tuesday, so we're going to get to the new moon a little bit later. But for this moon in Virgo, building into this new moon, into the dark of the moon, I have some great cards. I'm going to start with my angel therapy card. I have visualized success. See yourself doing well in this situation and have faith in a positive outcome. I think this is important with Virgo energy because Virgo energy is so mentally focused. So if we can visualize the success, if we can focus our energies into success, that will only ever serve to support us. And Maya was showing me her cards right before this, and you had success, didn't you? Yes, okay, I just was like, oh wait, success, yes. So in order to do that, this week I'm using my Gaia Oracle cards, and I love the Gaia Oracle card that I have with this, perception, see beyond the veil of illusion. And the thing is with, perception is, so often we color what's going on through our perception, through our ego experience of it. I like to, when I can, which is, I can always, but I don't always, but when I can, or when I do, I like to use everything is always working out for me and let that be my veil of perception. Let that help guide me into my success. So we have this option with strong Virgo energy going on and the moon just feeding into that, to keep feeding into that thought form. Everything is always working out for you. I have a friend who says, Mimi, the universe is not a butthole. She doesn't quite say that, but reminds me that all the time. The universe is not looking to ever bury us or undo us. The universe is always looking to help rise us into our best self. Being our best self only does serve to help the universe. So use this as the guiding light as you visualize success in and through your perception. Now, to finish up with my Osho cards, I have compromise in reverse. Don't compromise yourself. Don't compromise your best self. Don't compromise your perception of what's going on at this time. Rather, see it through the lens of courage. See it through the lens of your light. See it through the lens of your heart. This is the strength card. And I have to tell you, it does take strength, which is funny because I was going to bring that up later. It does take strength to keep reworking yourself out of the old stories and into the place, into the perception of everything is working out for me. Now, the final card that I have is I have the guilt card. And I think this is one of the big ego things that actually keeps us from completely getting into that place where we're like, everything's always working out for me. You don't have to be guilty about living a good life. I love what Abraham says. They will say you can never be sick enough to help other sick people, to make it better for other sick people. You can never be poor enough to make it better for, other people who are struggling with abundance issues. So don't get stuck in the guilt. Rather, come to this place in your heart to help moving you. Guilt is another perception that we do not need. It's a perception lens that we do not need to put upon ourselves as we're moving in and through this energy, as we're building in our personal focus and wholeness. So have the courage to keep turning and releasing the guilt. If you do have guilt, rather than being stuck in the muddiness of the guilt, turn your attention and turn your thoughts into Well, I would like to do something to change the situation, and there's always something that we can do to uplift a situation. And so if you are feeling that energy and it doesn't feel so good, because guilt never feels really good, then see what it is you can do. Okay, if the universe is working out for me, then the universe is also working out for this situation, this person. How can I be a positive role model? How can I be a positive uplifter in and through this energy? Maya?
Yay! Yeah, so for the moon into Virgo, speaking of being a positive uplifter, my first card that I drew today was actually the sharing card. And more than anything else, this sharing card is about, it's basically saying like, we are experiencing positive shifts through this energy. And I think this is representative not only of the moon into Virgo, which is happening late night on Sunday, but also the building into the new moon in Virgo. So this is saying like when positive things happen for you, when things turn out positively for you, share that joy, share that love with others. So I wanted to say a couple things about just this sort of contradiction of having the moon in Virgo. So the moon is about our inner worlds, okay? And Virgo is about like order and practicality and healing. So I think this is an auspicious placement for us, especially given the confusing energy that's been in the air all through August and the beginning of September. So this represents having the moon move into Virgo and having a new moon there represents an opportunity to bring order to our inner world. And I think this can be a time of really being able to make sense of all the sort of competing like thoughts and feelings that we've been having, of being able to solve those emotional problems or suddenly see things a lot more clearly. So be really open to that clarity that can come from Virgo, from a balanced Virgo. Now, because this is happening really late on Sunday night, the moon into Virgo, most people will probably be sleeping, depending on where you live. But if you live in the US, you may be sleeping. So this is giving us energy, though, to creating order and to making new routines and things like that. So for anybody who maybe has been saying to themselves, like, I'm going to start a new workout routine, or I'm going to start like a new diet, or something like that. Monday morning would actually be a really good time to actually start those things. Like the energy will be very, very supportive. Definitely a good morning for like an early morning workout before work or something like that. So I just wanted to say that. But the other cards that I have, they're really positive. I was actually amazed by how positive these cards really are. So in addition to the sharing card, I also have the success card. And this card is saying a couple of things. One of the things is that it's an acknowledgement that we've moved through challenging times, and haven't we, right? Like everybody has moved through really challenging times, especially this summer and in the end of the summer. This is saying like you are being congratulated for having successfully navigated those challenges. It represents like a temporary upliftment in energy, a celebration and success, but it does represent temporary. And so this is saying like when the energy is good, be fully present in the energy and really enjoy it for what it is, but don't become attached to the energies. As you know from Mimi, the energies are changing every day, all throughout the day, so we can't attach to it and hold on to it, but we can be fully present and enjoy the positive energies where they are. The final card that I got is the rebirth card, which is actually about transitioning from one state of consciousness to a higher state of consciousness, or from one way of being to a higher way of being. And it reminds us not to hold on to who we once were, but instead to be open to evolving a new way of seeing the world and a new way of being in the world. So again, I really think that this moon into Virgo on Sunday, it's going to start catalyzing some of the changes of the new moon on Wednesday. It's going to start to bring in that fresh energy for us. And it looks like there may be some time of healing, right? And releasing guilt and things like that, but it looks like it should be pretty positive overall. So that's my take on the moon into Virgo.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So next we have Venus moving into Virgo, excuse me, on Tuesday. So Tuesday night, it's going to be popping. We have Venus into Virgo on Tuesday. We have that new moon, which we're getting to next. But something that's happening in between those shifts is we actually have Mercury opposite Neptune, which I think is kind of feeding into all of this energy in between. What is so interesting to me about this transit and the fact that it's happening with this new moon and with this Venus shift is that Neptune is still at that point where it was back when we had the full moon in Pisces. And so here we have Mercury again interacting with this energy. Mercury was interacting with eclipse energy, and now here it is meeting with this full moon energy. So to me, there are more revelations coming about, and that kind of goes with my energy that I have for Venus into Virgo. Which, one last thing that I want to say about Venus into Virgo, the technical side of things before I get into my cards. It's a little early for that here. This Venus in Virgo energy, we're going to have Mars and Venus coming together, conjunct, while in Virgo. This is something that doesn't happen. It happens maybe like once, twice a year. It usually happens when Venus laps Mars, like comes around, because Venus is always speeding around. So this is going to be a really potent time, which is why I think these cards are important. Again, Venus is love energy. Venus is balance. Venus is harmony. Venus is pleasure. Venus is self-love and knowing our worth. Venus in Virgo, to me, is really a beautiful opportunity to shower ourselves, shower our physical body with self-love, really extend some self-care to ourselves. But we have to remember that Virgo has this mental focus. Virgo is partially ruled by Mercury energy. And here is where I feel like I'm going. So my first two cards I want to show you, I have released from Angel Therapy. And then I have the Thunderbolt in reverse. We have to let go of the old things. We have to let go of the old stories. We have to let go of these things, these traumatic things that we're still holding on to, whether it was from the eclipse or whether it was from the hurricanes or, you know, anything else that's going on. This has been a very intense summer, I know, for me. Release. This is important as we move forward in and through our self-care. It's so funny. I feel it on my shoulders. I feel the heaviness on my shoulders. That heaviness, that stuff that you're still carrying, needs to be released through this transit to bring that focus back into that self-love, to bring that focus in your daily physical reality. That's Virgo energy, physical reality, into the present, into the now, and into pleasure. So this is an opportunity, as always, to release. That being said, if we can release these old things that happened, instead of replaying them over and over in our mind, like, what should I have done? What, maybe if I had done this, it would have been different. No, you got the lesson that you needed. Release it from that place. Okay, I'm grateful I got the lesson. Yay. From that perspective, look what I have. I have the success card now. And going with the flow, which is the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is love begins. Here comes the flow of abundance. Here comes the flow of pleasure. Here comes the flow of good things into your physical reality. Into your physical reality with releasing that stuff. Now, this is going to take some strength. I think strength may be a pervading theme through this week. I have the Miser card. I'm losing my voice. I have the Miser card and the Tuning In card. Both cards are 4 cards. 4 cards resonate with the Emperor energy. The Emperor is card 4 in the major arcana. So the Miser is like, hey, have the strength to show the jewels of your heart. It is going to take releasing this old stuff and not letting the wounds of the past that's going to allow you to not be a miser, not hold back the jewels of your heart. And it's also going to take strength to tune in and listen and flow with it, how it is that you're meant to go, how you're meant to show up in this physical reality for yourself, for your physical body, for your self-love in and through this process, listening into yourself and not holding back. And, you know, the Miser, this may be not necessarily even in regards to bringing your heart to others at this time, it may be to showing up, having the strength and showing up for yourself and not holding back on the self-love when it comes in and through yourself. This may be part of like the guilt card from before and the release of the thunderbolt. You know, I should have done this. I should have done better. No, you're not going to get there from there. So you may have to bring some healing. Another aspect of Virgo is that I think one of the strongest aspects of Virgo is the healing aspect. Bring that healing to yourself. And again, accept the lessons and then show up full-hearted as you are now. The final card that I have, which I love so much, and it just feels like it's just this tide that's moving us in this direction. I have from the Gaia Oracle, the 9 of Hearts, fulfillment, harmony, protection, fulfillment, harmony, and protection. And I'm going to just read this because it's just short and it's beautiful. This card signifies success. There's the success card again. Emotional fulfillment, wisdom, something that is dear to you or something that you are working towards has a positive outcome. This leads to a period of peace and harmony, a deep sense of personal satisfaction and emotional fulfillment. That which you strive to create and achieve is granted, and all is protected along the way. The light shines upon you and all is blessed, and you can move forward with confidence. Move forward with confidence, going with the flow. And it has just a beautiful little affirmation here. I am blessed, I am protected, I am grateful, I am fulfilled, I am love. How beautiful is that? So Venus in Virgo can really take us into this. But again, keep merging our focus with these messages and bringing forth the strength when we find ourselves turning back into that which we came to release, which is any of that old trauma. Maya?
You know what Virgo is like really, really good at is accomplishing goals, like setting goals and accomplishing them. And so what I feel like Spirit is communicating through all these cards is like, really, the goals that we've been working towards, we have achieved them, or we are coming into achieving them this week for the people that have been working hard. They're healing, etc. Also, maybe I had a question for you, which is, how long is Venus in Virgo? It's like several weeks, right?
Usually Venus is about 3 weeks. I didn't actually look up the date, and I was like sitting here, I'm like, I always look up the date.
Okay, well, we know it's about 3 weeks. My point is that the Venus in Virgo transits, it's not like some of the moon transits where we talk about that are just maybe 48 hours or 72 hours. It's a little bit longer, so we're working with these themes for a bit of an extended period of time, at least several weeks. So Virgo, oh, you got it?
I have it. I forgot. I wrote it down on my cheat sheet. This is my cheat sheet with kisses all over it. October 14th. On October 14th, Venus is shifting into Libra. So, of course, Libra comes after Virgo. So, just right under a month.
Okay, so Virgo is my self node and my ascendant and other things. And so I just wanted to just have a small teaching moment of how to love like a Virgo, okay? So, because Venus is the planet of love and relationships and harmony and things like that. And Virgo's best, highest way to love would be to help the people that you love in practical ways, right? And so the reason why I'm saying this is because Venus in Virgo, it could possibly, and this is kind of in my cards, it could make us want to help our friends, family, lovers by trying to fix them. Like, that can happen. I'm just saying that can happen. So a different way to channel the energy instead can be to do something that you know that they need help with so that they have more time to help themselves, like taking out the garbage or doing a chore or helping in these real practical ways. That's how to show your love with the Virgo energy. I also wanted to say that this can be a time for really, like Mimi was saying, like really actually healing things, like finding those practical solutions to healing your heart. And what you want to look for in this case is, right, the practical solutions. So I think it can be a really big breakthrough time for anybody that's getting overly anxious in this Virgo energy, which really can activate our mind, especially for anyone with a lot of Mercury energy in their chart. You want to channel that energy into like keeping busy with practical things. So if you're starting to feel midweek or the beginning of the week, starting to go like a little bit crazy in your mind where your mind can't calm down, then Just think about what you need to get done in this world, our real physical world, and do that, and you'll feel better. So the cards that I have today are pretty interesting. They're pretty balanced. So the first card that I have is the Trust card. And this card is saying when you know something, if you get a feeling like that something is just right, and it's Venus, so maybe it's a relationship or something like that. Like, I just know this is my person, or you meet someone and you have that feeling. This says we may need to just take a leap of faith. And if you look at the color at the bottom, that pink color, it's like you're diving into something beautiful. So when you get that strong affirmation, like, do trust your instincts, especially about your relationships. I got the Lovers card. What even? Like, okay. But this card has like the message, like it's like the twin flame message, the message, which is that we need to, like, there's no partner that is going to fulfill our perfect expectation, and that's for a good reason, which is that to learn to love unconditionally it's not about loving somebody who is your fantasy or who is your dream. It's about accepting, the person where they're at and learning to love them despite the fact that they may not be doing everything perfectly. And this is essential lesson for Venus into Virgo. This card even says, like, that fantasy doesn't exist. Like, that fantasy that we have in our head for our perfect partner doesn't exist. And as somebody who is engaged to my twin flame right now, I can say that it's true. Like, you may meet the perfect person that you visualized, but they're not always going to behave perfectly. And your job is to learn to love them anyway. So this is a good lesson for Venus and Virgo. I also got two cards, which I believe represent two different possibilities for our mind under the Virgo energy. So the one that came through first is this schizophrenia card. And I know this energy has been very real for a lot of people just because of my clients, So the schizophrenia energy is saying when we cannot make up our mind between two different things and we're back and forth and it feels like no matter which option that we're trying to make, that it's the wrong option, it's usually a sign that we need to let go of both options and let go of the whole debate in the first place. And really what this card is saying is that the real way out is to get out of the mind altogether. You see this person with magic dolphins emerging from their heart chakra? Okay. Sometimes the answers, not sometimes, pretty much all the time, the answers that we seek cannot be found in our minds. They come from getting quiet and tuning into the stillness of your heart. And this card says, when this guy, since the only solution to this schizophrenia situation is to let go of both sides, right? And to fall, it says when this person falls, their heart will be beating so clearly that it'll be very obvious which side was right. And so don't put yourself in that situation. Just tune into your heart to begin with, and that subtle awareness in your heart of your heart's desires is what will lead you in the highest direction until mid-October.
I love that. I think that also goes so well with that trust card too, because it's here's the pink clouds and here's these other clouds. You got to keep falling into the clouds.
Yes.
It's soft and they will support you in this realm at least. All right, so our next transit is the moon shifting from that Virgo new moon energy into the no. We're going into the new moon now. I'm one ahead. Virgo new moon energy Tuesday night. That's where we're going. 10:30 p.m. Pacific time. This new moon energy is at 27 degrees in Virgo. New moons are always a great time for planting seeds, planting intentions. And I want to remind you that even more so than manifest and push. It's more about align. And with Virgo energy, so much of this alignment is getting that mind in alignment and not monkeying all over the place. And that is one of the cards that I have in and through this energy. I have the mind energy and I have the burden in reverse. And the burden to me is always such a strong mental card. You see this guy who has a rooster on his head. And so I don't like to consider the mind a burden. I know my mind is and can be my best friend. I know when I let it off to do its own thing that sometimes it likes to go a little wild, kind of like a highly sugared child. So there's that. But I don't want to vilify the mind because it's not the villain. It's just really noticing, being the observer for your mind and staying in tune with it, staying in your personal alignment, staying in your wholeness, staying in your holiness for this new moon to align, to bring about these desires, these passions. I love that this new moon is at 27 degrees. 27 degrees, that's 9 energy, and 9 is Mars energy. Mars energy is passion, it's desire. It also can go the other direction. It can be the direction of aggressiveness. However, I think it serves us so well to keep tuning into that passion. And that's kind of the other cards that I have that go along in and through with this. So Maya said, you need something to do. You need to be structured with Venus into Virgo. You may not need to be so structured. I have singing and dancing. To me, when I get off track, when my mind starts doing this thing, my favorite thing is turning on my Pandora. I like Pandora and I like thumbprint radio on Pandora because I never know what I'm going to get. I have stations that range from like everything. So I really could get anything. So it always feels like it's a message in spirit, you know, trying to realign me with myself with whatever comes up on there. And then just dancing, shaking it off. Virgo energy is physical reality. To me, there's nothing more in tune with our physical reality than our physical body. And so singing and dancing just gets us all juicy in here and brings us back to this moment and brings us back into the fullness of our body instead of spinning these stories that come. And a lot of times I'll find, like, I'll be sitting here spinning, creating stories, creating worlds with the stories that I'm making in my head. It's a very imaginative head. It can go anywhere. But it's like as soon as I go into this singing, dancing mode, that stuff falls out. Like the stories kind of fall down. It's like dancing on sandcastles. Crush those castles, and all of a sudden, solutions start popping up. And so to me, this is like, it may not be singing and dancing for you. It may be taking a bath. It may be going out into nature and taking a walk. It may be going and taking a nap or going to bed since it's so late at night. Not that late at night, but depending where you are, it's so late at night. It may be that kind of energy, but getting yourself back into your body and out of your head is going to be healing for you. Healing energy with and through this new moon, but it's going to be a choice of getting yourself out of the head. Look, here we have the hand. The hand is on the head. The hand's like, calm down, settle down, just like your mom, you know, or your dad or grandma or somebody putting their hand on your head when you're little, being like, calm down, it's okay. This card's like, calm down, it's all good. Come back into here, come back into the heart. Whether it's through the singing and the dancing or through the napping or the walking in nature, or, you know, you can howl at new moons too. I have been known to howl at new moons, petting your cat, something physical to draw yourself out of any of the strong mental energy that's working. Now, again, like I said, Mercury and Neptune are going to be opposing each other at 12 degrees in and through this energy. But anytime we have an opposition with Virgo and Pisces energy, to me, it's always an opportunity of a portal of magic coming in. And so to me, this new moon, this has this strong magic element. Bring in the magic, bring in the miracles out of your head, out of the place like, that's not realistic. Nope. Anything can happen in our reality. Anything can happen. I'm fully convinced of that. I have seen very interesting things in my life. Get back into your heart, get into the magic, get into your innocence, get into your inner child. And to finish up, I have the breakthrough card in and through this. So it's going to be breaking through by releasing with the dark of the moon your insistence on being in this super, super strong mental. I think a lot of times what we're doing in this kind of energy, this kind of mental energy, is trying to control the world and trying to control the outcomes. And if I do this, it's playing chess. If I do this, then this will happen, and this will happen, and this will happen. But it's not quite like a chess game, because there are an infinite number of chess pieces that are all moving at one time on this planet. And I say infinite because I think it's more than just the humans. I think it's the humans, and it's the animals, and it's the stars in the sky, and it's each molecule in the ocean, and it's all the molecules in the air. There's so much at play that it is infinite chess pieces. All you can do is be true to you, and it will be through this sinking in, coming into yourself, through singing and dancing, very possibly. That's my way, but whatever your way is, into ourselves, that gets us on our path. And that's the only thing that we really need to do. We don't need to play chess with the universe. We don't need to have it all figured out. We just have to keep honoring our personal integrity of how we came to show up. To finish up, which I love, and I think this goes really well with the healing card, I have from Gaia Oracle, purification. Emotional cleansing, rejuvenation. I think this goes really beautifully with the healing card that we have. This is another option. I think we've said this literally every GPS that we've done. You can always take a bath. It's another option for getting into your physical body, caring for yourself, cleansing yourself. Take a bath. But I think this is another good focus in and through this new moon. See, I'm going to read the affirmation with this. But the last line that it says in the oracle message is emotionally cleansed and rejuvenated. She's ready to move fully into her power, free of the emotional or mental baggage she's previously carried. And the affirmation is, I allow all unresolved feelings to surface. I give thanks for healing that takes place. I am emotionally cleansed. I am free of emotional baggage. I release all that no longer serves me. That's a beautiful intention for moving forward with this Virgo new moon, to release that which no longer serves me. I want to release that baggage so that I can move into my next step free and clear. Intentions don't always have to be about things and other things that we want. It can be that kind of energy. And so this may support you. And again, I'm going back to my singing and dancing, because to me, this is one of my best ways to purge. You have to figure out for you what your best ways to purge is, but this can build up a sweat, clean out the toxins. It's so good on so many levels. So I go back to this, but baths are good too, and naps are great, and walking in nature, all the kinds of things to get you out of your head into your body. And that's, to me, the overwhelming message in this. Don't leave your head behind. I mean, take it with you. But don't get too caught up in these stories. Get more caught up in like, oh yes, this feels good. I want to be here. This is what feels good. Maya?
Yeah, so I have my notes here like on the screen, and I literally wrote for this new moon in Virgo a mantra, which is busy hands, clear mind. Busy hands, clear mind. To me, if there's one bit of practical advice for Virgo, that's it. And whether it comes through dancing or comes through like organizing your pantry or writing or whatever, if your mind is going wild, bring your attention back to your body. Just like Mimi is saying, bring your attention back to your body. Virgo people and Virgo ascendants are very known for like always holding things or like fiddling with things during intense conversations. It's one of the sort of characteristics. And there's a reason for that, because it gets you in your body and out of your head a little bit. So I was thinking about this. So this Mercury opposite Neptune energy is a familiar sort of Virgo versus Pisces energy that we've had a couple times throughout the past month. I think my main takeaway from this energy, which is going on at the time of the full moon, is sometimes we have experiences that are so profound, or our spiritual experiences are so profound that we can't put them into words. Like, not everything can be explained. And I think that what this could create, one manifestation of this, is a situation in which we're feeling something or experiencing something or even like seeing something like clairvoyantly that's like so amazing, and yet when we try to explain it, the other person doesn't understand, right? Like that could be a manifestation of Mercury opposite Neptune. So I would encourage people during this time midweek, like we may have these transcendent experiences. Sometimes maybe not using words is better. Like sometimes we might want to try our nonverbal communication, like using painting or using dance to convey a message, or even like not trying to make something that's so non-mental into something that's mental, right? Like sometimes we have to let those things be two opposite things. In terms of the real practicality, I think New Moon in Virgo can really give us fresh starts, like in the areas of health and our daily routine and our work. So just for people that are looking for like, how can I make the most of this energy? It really is a good time, like to start a new diet or something like that, or start more healthy ways of relating to your work. I think that could be a really good way to channel this energy. The cards that I got, so the first one is the inner voice card, and I wanted to read a little bit of this. It says, there are times in our lives when too many voices seem to be pulling us this way and that. Our very confusion in such situations is a reminder to seek silence and centering within. There really is there's not a mental solution to every problem. Sometimes, like, the only solution is just to get out of your head and just stop thinking about it, and you really will feel better. And Virgo's here to teach us that. I also got the understanding card here. And if you look at the card, it shows some birds coming to sort of try to pull the other bird out of the cage. And the message of the card is that the cage is open. The cage is open. Sometimes we build cages around ourselves, like mental cages with our belief systems. Like we tell ourselves, this isn't possible, this will never happen. And sometimes our belief systems lock us into things that are not true, right? Sometimes like we are locking ourselves in or making ourselves servants or slaves to certain beliefs that were never true in the first place. And we're torturing ourselves when actually we're free. So you might want to ask yourself if there's any area of your life where that's happening. Like maybe you tell yourself that you can't say no to your boss, or you can't say no to your partner, or something like that. This is a time for questioning some of those beliefs where we're restricting ourselves and saying, is that really true? Sometimes maybe you do say, no, I would rather not do that project at work, and maybe your boss doesn't care and they just give it to someone else. So this is a time for like really breaking out of those things. And then I got two cards that were the same as the moon into Virgo transit that I had at the beginning. So this is just a very short recap here. I have the sharing card again, which is about sharing our joy and our energy and our vibration with others, and that sort of trust when we're really in alignment that we have more than enough, right? Being that beacon of light and generosity for all those around us, that's definitely a favorable energy for the new moon to be in. That can help us to manifest what's in the highest and best good. It's not always about receiving. Like sometimes giving is receiving at the time of the new moon. Sometimes you're the one that's giving to someone else so that you can receive something beautiful during the new moon. And I also got, again, the rebirth card. The rebirth card. To me, my sense of this rebirth is that there's been just so much mental energy the past couple of weeks. And I think many people have like not lost their way, but they've fallen into that version of themselves that is the mental version or the mind version. And I think that's like kind of an intermediary place to be. And to me, this rebirth is the rebirth back into that higher state of consciousness. It's like, okay, oh yeah, like that's what it felt like to be in alignment. Like, oh yeah, that's what it felt like to be in my heart space. Although it could be like rebirth, it can come in many forms. You know, it could be the rebirth of a relationship or the rebirth, a new job or anything. But I think we want to embrace that energy of rebirth, like be willing, like Mimi was saying, we have to be willing to let go of what was in order to make space for what is new and what is coming in. So I think it's really, really auspicious for us to think about what we're ready to let go of. Maybe right before we go to bed, especially for people in the US, right before you go to bed on Wednesday, reflect on what are you ready to let go of, especially within yourself, and what next level of consciousness or way of being are you ready to step into now that we've got finally this week we've got that, we're out of the Mercury shadow period, and we're finally moving back forward again. So who do you want to be? How do you want to show up in the world? These are some questions for the new moon on Wednesday.
That is such a perfect segue for the next transit. So our next transit is the moon shifting into Libra. That's going to be Wednesday morning, September 20th, 3:06 a.m. I have it written down on my handy dandy cheat sheet. And that's the thing. I'm looking at these cards in front of me, and I'm like, this is a really interesting set of cards. But Maya's question, who do you want to be? Well, one of the cards that I have is the comparison card in reverse. And so the moon in Libra brings our emotional connection into Libra, relationship, balance, harmony. But with this card, this comparison card in reverse, it's like, don't get so caught up in the beauty of somebody else. Don't get so caught up in those, like, gosh, Maya is a really, really, really awesome, wonderful person. I'm not Maya. But there's parts of me sometimes I'm like, I wish I was more like that with Maya. Don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in the Maya of that. Maya means illusion. Don't get caught up in that energy of that. What is the beauty within yourself? And it's one of those things, because I think our world in general is very geared into comparison. I think a lot of behind a lot of sales, like, oh, use this mascara and you'll be better, or drive this card and you'll be better. Don't get too caught up in that energy. That just leads to stress. I have the stress card. This may mean putting down some of those things. But I think the really interesting cards that I have, and I kept asking for more information, I have shield yourself from angel therapy. I have the apprehension card, actually, from the Gaia Oracle. And it's just like the world right now, especially maybe with this rebirth, being that we've just gone through this rebirth, we may be feeling a little tender to those messages. We may be a little bit more susceptible than usual to these messages of comparison. And that can bring up the stress within us. But this card, I always say, you've got to put some of these things down. Take your monkey out for a walk. Get out of that space of your mind. It's interesting because Virgo energy has this mental connotation, but air signs, which Libra is an air sign, also has very strong, quick mental agility. And so if you can bring your mind into focusing on the beauty instead of focusing on, but I'm juggling the candles and playing my horn and standing on a bubble while my monkey is about to pop the bubble. Instead of focusing on those things, find something beautiful, maybe even within yourself, to focus on instead of that comparison or getting overwhelmed. I think that's going to support you, because just like I keep saying, I have so many cards of like, take it easy. You're a little baby right now. Shield yourself. Protect yourself from the harsh or fear-based energies by envisioning a cocoon of healing light that surrounds you. And the apprehension card, it's kind of that same thing, like feeling a little apprehensive about going into the world, or you may be feeling not quite in balance within yourself at this time. Well, take a little time to shield yourself, to feel stronger in and through within yourself. If you are feeling that apprehension, that's just a sign that some part of you is needing some TLC. So maybe don't subject yourself so much to others at this point as you move in and through this energy, and rather, as part of your work, I asked for more information. I got another angel therapy card. Solar plexus chakra. It's safe for you to be powerful and take charge of your life in powerful ways. So to me, it's like taking the emphasis off the other, which Libra can be. Let me find harmony with the world outside of me. Let me find harmony with all of these other people in my life. Rather than doing that, come back into yourself. Nurture yourself. Nurture your solar plexus. Feel strong in and through your inner sun energy. it's the thing. After the new moon, the moon starts waxing, so it starts building in its power, but it still is in dark of the moon. It's like till the moon comes out and starts like showing in our sky again, it is still dark of the moon. So it is like getting up like right before dawn, the break of dawn, and being like, it's a whole new world. That's kind of what this moon and Libra energy is going to be like. So take it easy in and through yourself with this energy. The final card that I have is Beyond Illusion. And so this may be part of this thing too, with the shield yourself and the apprehension. This may be some games, maybe based even on this comparison that's coming up. Some of these illusions, funny because we were talking about Maya and illusion. Some of these illusions that are coming through that are kind of clouding you, that are bringing forth this fear. And so if you're getting in that kind of space with this energy, ask Spirit to help you see through the illusion. Ask Spirit to help you see the beauty. Ask Spirit to help you see where your connection, your interaction is with and through this energy. And that may give you some of that strength, and that may give you some of this power back, solar plexus chakra, so that you can move into the world confidently and with ease and without your monkey ready to pop your bubble. Maya?
Yes, so I have some cards with similar messages, but I first just wanted to say I can also be like very inspired by Mimi or very envious of Mimi particularly. I always think if only I could be more like Mimi. Mimi does videos every day. Nobody does that. Like that's my dream come true. Like, oh, I wish that I could give these insights every day. I have not been able to do that, etc. There are many other ways, but I just wanted to say that it is mutual. I also wanted to say regarding the Libra energy, harmony is really beautiful, but I think the key message is like, there's no such thing as external harmony without internal harmony. Like, if it is, it's a mask and it's fake. If you're just acting a certain way to please others and you don't feel good inside, that's not actual harmony. But true harmony is beautiful, and true harmony is like we're balanced and whole within ourselves and self-approving within ourselves, and then we also have that dynamic with other people. And so the reason why I say this is because my first card today is the abundance card, and this card is about wholeness within, and it's about divine union within. Actually, like one of the messages of this card is that this man pictured here is in touch with and has fully integrated his divine feminine and his divine masculine, and that this is what has made him so abundant. So Libra is about balance, like the scales of balance, right? We may want to ask ourselves, what do I need to incorporate within myself in order to become the wholest version of myself? Especially, to be really honest with ourselves here. I mean, this is a short transit, but it is building us into the Libra energy. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we might want to ask ourselves, like, what harmony do I need to create within myself in order to experience harmony outside of myself? Now, very interestingly, I did get this sorrow card, and I take it more for the story rather than for the message, because the story of this card is that this person here was like the assistant to the Buddha, and their whole responsibility was to make the Buddha successful, right? And then this is right after Buddha had passed away, okay? And it's like, we can find ourselves in this situation during the time of Libra. If you put all your energy into supporting someone else, which sometimes we can fall into that path. Sometimes we think that's what love is. Like, I'll just sacrifice all of my own needs. This says that's not the way to be in the world, because ultimately, like, we don't keep any of that, right? We've got to take care of our own needs first. This is sorrow because of giving your whole life to another person, right? But what this is saying is that when we're willing to face that sorrow of the ways that maybe we did sort of sacrifice our own needs for others or other things, when we're willing to go all the way into that sorrow and admit that to ourselves, we can have enlightenment. We can have a breakthrough by going into our pain. So for anybody that needs to, be honest. Have you given your power away, right? And Livia and I sometimes talk about twin flames. This can happen a lot in twin flame unions, where we make it all about our twin flame and making them happy so we don't lose them and things like that, but then we lose ourselves. And for some people, this Libra time may be a time of healing that pain, being honest with ourselves about how we might have done that. And through that pain, coming out more enlightened and more whole within ourselves. And I also have, to sort of close this, I have two cards that are basically the same message from two different decks. Okay, this, you guys, the unicorn deck, I had to bring it in a little bit. So I had moment to moment and one step at a time, and these are the same message, which is basically like, as we move through this energy, we have to be present with what is right in front of us, and that's how we are the most safe. Like, to rather than to focus on, like, if you're this person on this path right here, if you're looking backwards, you're gonna fall. If you're looking at the rocks below you, in front of you, you're gonna fall. You have to be where you are, to be in the moment with this energy. And that I will also say regarding harmony, because that's what this is about. Harmony can only be found in the moment that you're in, right? So one moment at a time. So rather than worrying about, oh my gosh, if I say this, how's this person gonna respond? Or stuff like that. It's like, no, like, watch how they're responding as you talk in the moment. This also says, sometimes even, there's like a funny part of the description in this card. It's like, sometimes even when we are in the moment, we still fall, like, and that's okay. So, you know, I think the high Libra energy is like being able to just laugh at ourselves sometimes, right? And so, like, making mistakes is part of the journey. Stumbling sometimes can be part of the journey. So just being like, you know, congratulating ourselves for every step that we take that's successful. And if we do have a little bit of a stumble, like, just laughing it off and just getting back up and continuing on one step at a time. So that's my take on Moon into Libra.
I love that. I love the quote, if you stumble, make it part of a dance. And I have to tell you, I had an extensive dance lifetime in this lifetime. And it was one of the things that my teachers would always, you know, remind us, is that a lot of times if you would mess up or fall or stumble, like, if you did it with grace instead of being like, oh no, I just fell, like, people wouldn't actually have any idea. And I've seen that happen so many times where I'll be like, oh my God, that was a magnificent performance from somebody. And they're like, oh, I messed up here, and I fell. And I was like, I didn't even know. Like, it's a thing. It's going to be our emphasis, like, keep going and getting ourselves up and picking ourselves up and keep going moment to moment. That creates that cohesive flow instead of getting on our cases about the mistakes, because I don't think that they are mistakes. I think it's on purpose. I think Spirit always knows what it's doing. Anyway, next transit that we have is the moon into Scorpio. So the moon is moving into Scorpio on Friday the 22nd. I think it moves in the afternoon, but I'm not sure. Let me see. It moves in, oh no, well, it depends where you're at. It moves in at 10:40 a.m. Pacific time. So that's afternoon for some people. Let's see. And this is preparing us for the sun shifting into Libra. We have the sun shifting into Libra later that day, bringing us into equinox. My favorite card that I have pulled about the moon into Scorpio is the Tree of Life card. And it's about fertility, creativity, destiny, magical blessings. You know, Scorpio is such an interesting sign. Scorpio can get a bad rap. But God, that energy is so important. To me, the highest level of Scorpio energy is transformation, ultimately for our personal empowerment. Scorpio works very strongly with the root chakra. And we are going to be working our root chakra over this next year because we have, as of the 10th of October, we're going to have Jupiter, the planet of expansion, moving into Scorpio. So to me, this moon in Scorpio is a really good time to start getting into our roots. And that's one of the messages in this card. I'm gonna talk about that. But getting into our roots. There's a quote that says, you know, a tree that has strong roots has no need to fear the storm. And so that's what I'm thinking in and through this Scorpio energy, to really start working on our roots, and literally physically working on our root chakra energy to help make us strong. Root chakra energy is about survival and feeling safe and feeling powerful while we are on this planet. Now from Osho, I have the Creator card, and I think this goes really strongly with that Moon in Libra energy, which is like solar plexus energy, feeling our power, feeling that strength. There's a I don't know, healing meditation that I've done with clients many times, where it's like basically seeing kind of a bonfire energy, seeing the fire energy in our root chakra, and letting that fire energy come up through our sacral chakra and then into our solar plexus, lighting up the solar plexus, our inner central sun that we have within ourselves. And so this may be a good exercise to imagine some kind of fire connecting your root chakra energy to your solar plexus, bringing forth that power, bringing forth that connected, that seems to be a key word in this, that connected power in and through you, knowing yourself to be this powerful creator energy. But in order to be this powerful creator, to be deeply connected to the magic of your roots, to the magic of the earth. Now, I love the other Osho cards that I have with this because I spoke about earlier the 4 cards. Forget what transit that was. We had, I think it was the first one, the Moon into Virgo, the tuning in card, and the miser card. Well, I have another 4 here. I have the postponement card in reverse. That's the 4 of swords. And I finally have the emperor. So lots of 4s in that foundational energy, getting into that root chakra energy. Now, what this is preparing us for, this moon into Scorpio, and like Maya said with the moon in Libra as well, is the sun moving into Libra. And so for me, this moon in Scorpio energy with these cards, even with this creator energy as well, it's getting us into our yang, the power of our yang energy, the power and the safety of our yang energy, bringing that yang energy into our root chakra and into our solar plexus energy so that we can feel grounded and supported and ready to show up in this world from having that power within us. Yang energy has such a strength to it. And I'm going to get more into the yin and the yang energy when we talk about Libra stuff. But with this moon in Scorpio, how does the yang want to manifest itself in and through you with this power? And it's looking, one of the, I think, distortions of power. Oh, I had this card. Let's see. I don't know where I put it. One of the distortions of power is displaying our power over others. And I think that's one of the reasons why Scorpio can at times get a bad rap, because there can be that energy when it comes to power. Like, I'm going to display my power over you. I'm going to prove that I'm stronger than you. To me, these cards are not about that. This rebel card, this creator card, and even this card, the adventure, there is a single-minded focus in and through these energies of your power, your strength, in and through your life, and not needing to manipulate or anything, display your power over anyone else to prove your power. To me, this is about accepting, displaying your solar plexus. There's another word that I just can't seem to get, but accepting and embodying this power in and through you through this moon in Scorpio. Empowerment, like I said, that's the highest level, and true empowerment has nothing to do with anybody else. So to me, we're breaking through those old chains where we may have had to prove to somebody else, like, I am powerful. No, you don't have to prove to anybody else your power. It's just in you. And so this is an opportunity to cultivate this in and through this energy. And this 4 of Swords card in reverse, this postponement card, to me, it's just like, don't get stuck in your mind. Don't get stuck in any of that diatribe within your mind about this. Come into you. Now, I love this card, and then I'm going to read my true life card. But if you get nervous, focus on service. And what I get from this with this thing is, like, when we are in our power, when we're in our joy, when we're in that essence, that is service. So if you get nervous or like start to doubt yourself, how can I show up for the world in this way? How will me being in my power, how will me being in my light, how will that provide service? So if you get nervous about it and you start being, I don't know, which we all can do at some point or another, focus on the service and ask yourself and ask your higher self and ask the universe, how can I be of service when I step into my power? And I promise you, there's always an answer in it through that. To finish up, I actually want to read this card because I think this card sums it up so much better than I can do. The Tree of Life. The magical tree depicted in this image is symbolic of your life's journey. Having matured and grown strong through the changing seasons and cycles of life, you have now reached a stage of creative abundance. Your roots firmly planted in fertile soil of your dreams and imagination, you are ready to fulfill your destiny. A new creative cycle begins, one infused with love and wisdom that you have gained from your life to date. The struggle is over. From now on, you will achieve greater results than ever before, and you will do this with grace, poise, and ease. All your past experiences, all knowledge you have gained, and all of your previous work now all come together to serve a higher, more heartfelt purpose, being of service. This is a period in which you truly are the master of your own destiny. A time where anything you would truly love to achieve or create is possible. And the affirmation is, I am a master of my own destiny. All I truly desire, I create. All I create through love. All I create is for the higher good of all. I am truly blessed and grateful for all the abundance in my life. So, Tree of Life, supporting us with this moon into Scorpio. Maya?
Beautiful. Oh my goodness. In my notes, I have some notes about power, and what I want to say about that is, like, yeah, of course our power never comes from being something to anyone else, we know that, but where our power really comes from is from knowing who we really are, knowing like the highest version of ourselves, and it comes from our connection to source, our clear connection to source. That's where true power comes from, and that's what makes people really truly enlightened. And when you come from that place of knowing your connection to all that is, then there's nothing external that can shake you anyway. So to me, that's kind of what the Scorpio energy is working within us. The cards that I have today, I have the Sorrow card as the first card again. So I do think that towards the end of the week, depending, like obviously everyone has different astrology, but for some people it could be that suddenly we become more aware of our own pain. I mean, Scorpio can dig in deep to the mysteries of our being and pull out things that we didn't even know were there, you know, things that are deeply buried within our psychology. For example, when this happens, it's important for us to realize that it's a very good thing. Like, it's a very good step along the way in our healing. And there's no reason to be afraid of something that was always there anyway, just because we suddenly became aware of it, right? But I think that this is saying, like, be willing to venture into your shadows, be willing to venture into your pain, because from that place, that willingness to know the honest truth, Scorpio is really like, I must know the truth. I don't care what it is. Like, I must solve the mystery. That willingness to see and witness all aspects of yourself will lead to an expansion of consciousness. The other two cards that I have for this transit are some of probably like the highest cards in this deck, I would say. The first is the Existence card. And this card reminds us that home is not a physical place in the outside world, but is an inner quality of relaxation and acceptance. It says, the stars, the rocks, the trees, the flowers, fish, and birds are all our brothers and sisters in the dance of life. And our sense of separateness is just an illusion. This card says, if you are feeling the sorrow, if you're feeling like the world is out to get you, it's time to take a break. And in that break, to remind yourself that you cannot be hurt by someone else, because that person is you. Like, from the higher perspective, we're all parts of the same whole. So if you're telling yourself a story of being victimized, you have the opportunity to shift that story by seeing it from a higher perspective and by connecting in with that higher energy. And the final card that I have is this one as well, which is very similar. This is the Source card. Okay, and this is what Mimi was talking about with is strengthening our solar plexus energy and connecting to our sort of central sun within. It says within each of us, like a personal individual sun is the source, right? That's literally like exactly the message that was coming through Mimi. But this is about connecting to this energy really. Sometimes we know things mentally, and yet do we really experience them within? So this moon in Scorpio on Friday morning, it invites us to really feel our own personal connection to the highest energy, to the source energy. It says the source is waiting for you, and you don't have to step out of your house to find it. Like this energy, this sort of godliness, this creative energy is within all of us, and you don't have to recite a specific affirmation or mantra or something to get there, right? This is about realizing the true nature of our power, is that we are all these amazing, magical, creative beings that come from the highest source of all. So yeah, as we work with the Scorpio energy, I think we may want to really cultivate that highest spiritual energy, or really reflect on, like, when you take everything away that you own, because Scorpio is about that, like divesting of the material. And when you take away everything that's fake, your performed identity and your ego, like, what do you have left? And that thing that you have left, that soul energy, that is your power. That is your truest and highest power. So that's the message that I have for us for Moon into Scorpio.
That is quite powerful. I love that. And that sets us up perfectly for the sun shifting into Libra on the 22nd. I didn't write that down. 1:02 p.m. Pacific time, and that brings us into fall equinox. And I think the solstices and equinox times, I think that they are some really potent, powerful times. So, tune in, feel this energy in and through yourself. But I want to bring forth my theme for sun into Libra, for the Libra time. And Spirit actually literally made me paint this. So I painted the yin and the yang sign. Libra is all about balance, finding that harmony. But if you see, like, I have a yin and a yang within the yin and the yang energy. And even within those, I'm not quite done painting it because my paint needs to dry. But still, there's even more yin and yang energy inside the littler yin and yang energies. And that's the focus, the yin inside the yang and the yang inside the yin. So much Libra energy can focus on relationships. But I think I have this card, the integration card. I can't believe that I pulled this card for this. I can, but I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy that I pulled this card. We focus outside of ourselves. I have politics, projections, and awareness. We focus outside of ourselves so much, seeking that balance, seeking that harmony outside of ourselves. And I know that as well as anybody. Being in a twin flame situation, I see how much, like, it plays with me. And yet, the more I go through it, the more it keeps pushing me to go deeper within, to find my yang within my yin and my yin within my yang. So that's going to be the theme. And I was looking for a good example, because I've had a lot of really interesting things said to me over the years about my feminine and masculine. And I prefer to use yin and yang because I think it's a little bit less, I don't know. I think people have less preconceived notions about yin and yang than they do about masculine and feminine. But I'm going to bring it up. So I've had people like, oh, Mimi, you're so feminine. You always wear makeup. Does that make me feminine? I don't know. I've seen some really sexy rock stars who also wear makeup, but I like it on them, and I don't think it makes them feminine. I've had people be like, oh, Mimi, you're wearing pants. That's very masculine of you. Is it? I don't know. I've seen some, really beautiful women wear pants and make it very beautiful. We have these distorted things about the masculine and the feminine and what it means, which is why it's like, let's pull within, let's integrate, let's get within about the yin within and the yang within the yin. So for me, I think one of my favorite personal yin qualities of myself is my softness. I am very soft. However, I also know the strength and the backbone that it takes to keep me in my softness. And there is a lot of young, masculine energy, strength, determination, decisions that go into keeping me in my softness. I need that yang. I need that backbone to help keep me soft. And so that's what I mean when I'm talking about the yin within the yang and the yang within the yin. And my hope, we'll see what happens, but as we go through the month of Libra in my daily horoscopes, what I'm hoping is to point out different ways, as we go through the degrees, that we can each find the yin within the yang and the yang within the yin. But this is something that we can look into ourselves with this Libra transit. And the cards that I have are just so fascinating to me. I have the projection card. It's the Seven of Cups. It's a card of illusions, but look at this projections. And when we're looking for that balance, that harmony outside of ourselves, then we get stuck into these energies. And then we get stuck in the politics. We put on masks to bring forth that harmony, that energy. These are all sevens. I'm loving the patterns of the numbers in here. These are all 7 cards. Sevens is about, seven energy to me is about Neptune energy, getting into our spirituality, moving forward. It's the Chariot in traditional tarot, which is this card, the awareness card. But it's going to be about healing through your own layers to move forward, to move deeper into your integration, into your experience of being a spirit in a material world. I have that sing song just suddenly pop into my head. We are spirits in a material world. And I'm a material girl. Okay. 2 songs layering themselves on top of each other. I wish people could hear what goes on in my mind. It's always a fascinating place. Anyway, so this transit is going to be about finding this balance, finding this harmony, finding this yin-yang balance within ourselves, and noticing how often we are trying to seek that balance outside of ourselves. It's time to take back that power. This is another power thing. This is where the yang thing comes into play. To stop looking outside of ourselves, to stop projecting out of ourselves, to stop trying to find, like Maya said, that harmony outside of ourselves, to find our balance, and rather coming into it within ourselves, noticing where we have to bring forth our yang energy and feel that strength, and noticing where we have to bring forth that yin energy and be soft for ourselves in those times of needing the softness. So I think this is going to be a beautiful transit. Not to mention that as we have this sun in Libra energy, we're finishing up the transit of Jupiter through Libra. So this is really the time to really understand these Libra energies, as Jupiter won't be back in Libra for another 12 years. So it's the perfect time to really stand in and through this and focus on this. To go along with these energies, where do I go? Okay, I'm going to these cards. 2 came up for the Gaia Oracle. One of them is attachment. And funny enough, this is the 8 card, which 8 in the traditional tarot is the strength. So having the strength to detach, and this to me is letting go of the restriction of looking for this balance, looking for this harmony in somebody outside of ourselves. This card, one of the key words for it is fear. A lot of times we look for that balancing energy out of fear. And I'm not saying it's bad to be in partnership, because it's so not. It's so not about that. It's just about taking that focus from the other and asking the other to complete us and make us whole. And instead being like, oh, wait, I got that. I got that energy. It's all in me. So this is saying release that attachment. Release that, because that's just restricting you. You owe it to yourself and to others. You deserve to feel light and free. Summon the power of love within you and ask it to guide you and give you the strength in and through this. And then the other card, which is an 11, which I love, very balanced card for Libra, is rising above. And so to me, this is going to take, that strength, that power that we talked about with the moon in Scorpio. It's going to take that energy to rise above, because I think again, it's something that's kind of been pushed on us. Find a partner, find the other. You complete me. You know, that energy. Like it's something that's been pushed. We get to rise above that and instead find again that strength in and through us. Know that we have that. We have all that we need within us, balancing aspects. And again, I'm not saying no to relationships or dissing relationships at all. Like that's a lovely bonus. It's lovely for so many different reasons, but it's just finding this balance in and through yourself through this and making that your priority. I think that's the key word. To finish up from Angel Therapy, 2 cards came out, and I have sacral chakra and third eye chakra. So sacral chakra energy going along with the root and the solar plexus that we've been talking about. What it says is you're highly sensitive to chemicals, additives, processed foods, and energies. Respect your sensitivities by avoiding harsh items, situations, and relationships. To me, that's all about being in harmony with yourself by noticing what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and keep aligning yourself with what works for you, what is good for you. That's part of finding that harmony. That's part of being strong for yourself. And the third eye chakra to me is like, okay, and use your intuition to help balance this energy, to help you know. Like if you get a sense about somebody, you're going to go hang out with somebody and your intuition is like, no, even if it's a great friend, listen to your intuition. Be like, okay, today's not the day. Like I have to be true to myself. Not even that friend is a harsh reality or anything. It's just listening to your intuition about it and let that help guide you in and through this energy so that you can become true to yourself, so that you can become grounded and integrated within yourself through this transit.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of reading about the fall equinox, just a little bit, and I thought it was really interesting that many articles mentioned that fall is symbolic of having equal parts of darkness and light, literally in the world, right? Like in sunlight and then night. But this is the same as sort of the Libra balance lesson, and also acknowledging that like we all kind of have those like shadow areas or distorted areas within us and the light within us, and integrating and balancing that. And you're like the yin and yang that you were talking about as well. It's the same thing, like that balance. And that really is what this is about. And I think as well, this can manifest in terms of, I mean, the truth is that, right, we need a core foundation of a positive relationship with ourselves in order to know ourselves and to grow in our consciousness. But we also need connection to others as well in order to make the most of this human experience. And I think Libra brings some attention to that. Like, are we getting what we need from ourselves? Are we getting what we need from others? So this is represented in the cards that I have today. So I have, my first 2 cards came out together. And these are the outsider and participation. So this is about our connections to other people. So this outsider card tells us, like, sometimes we tell ourselves that we can't have what we dream of. Like, we can't get into that beautiful gates, right? Because we think that we're not good enough, or we have other people's voices in our head telling us why we don't belong there, and the wounds of our inner child make us think that we don't have what it takes to achieve our dreams. But if you look closely on here, the gate is actually unlocked in the little person. I don't know what kind of person it is. The little person, they can just pull the gate open. And sometimes we tell ourselves too, like, oh, I can't be a part of that group, or my coworkers won't accept me, or that lovely person over there would never think that I'm attractive because yada, yada, yada. And it might not be true. And this Libra time, I mean, it's not true, right? This Libra time is going to show us that. And this is about participation and reminding ourselves that we are a valuable part of the whole. You are a valuable part of the whole. You have something to contribute. You deserve entrance into the gate. It was only an illusion to believe that you didn't deserve that. So this to me says, for some of us, if we've been kind of wavering about forming new relationships, like we know in our heart's desire that we want to participate in a new group or something like that, but we've been telling ourselves that we aren't necessarily good enough or whatever, this may be a time to really break that. Like this card says, like, join the group, participate, like you are needed. So I think this can be a time, you know, in the real literal interpretation of Libra, of forming these foundational relationships with others and feeling included, and that can be very healing. So this is for about a month. So this is a time to be a little bit more social and to push yourself if you are feeling guided to do so. But what's interestingly is it is about balance, you know, so that's one part of it. The other two cards that I got, though, were definitely about a relationship to ourselves. I have the nothingness card and the silence card. And these are like pretty much saying to, well, the nothingness card says, like literally being in a void, like being in a void and not being able to see what's coming next or what's being birthed. It's like that silent space right before something brand new emerges. And so it's about that total stillness. The silence card here as well is about like the wonderful insights that come to us when we're able to get quiet. And the silence card says, there's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go, right? It says that our inner silence permeates into everything. And this is about seeking out people that can resonate with our silence. You know, it's like if somebody doesn't respect what you need spiritually, then maybe you don't need them, right? Maybe you don't need them in your life. So this card can be about coming home to yourself. I think coming home to yourself, it could be literally that. I think also though, sometimes coming home to ourselves is like coming home to those people that really do resonate with who we are, and knowing that we are good enough to have those connections with soul family or with those people that we look up to. So it is all about balance. Spending time in that space of nothingness can be a really good way to balance the focus that may come on relationships during this time, and sort of tending to both. I think the ultimate objective of this month with the sun in Libra is just to do whatever we need to do to make our life more balanced and beautiful from the inside out. So that will be my objective during this time.
Beautiful. Well, I love that. I love our messages for this week. I think that's it from me. Do you have anything else you want to say for this week or anything?
I don't think so. Just as always, we're sending a lot of love and support to everybody who's tuning in, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for joining us. All right. Well, have a beautiful week. I will be with you every day with the horoscope. So go check that out at Gaia Blooming on the Facebook page or Gaia Blooming on YouTube. And we'll see you next week. Namaste.
Namaste. Bye.